Alright guys, we're gonna start going over the periodic table. On the periodic table you have your elements, okay? We're going to first label APEman. This is the acronym we learned at the beginning of the year. So you have A, which stands for atomic number. You have P, which stands for the number of protons. And you have E, which stands for the number of electrons. These three things, ape, is always going to be the same. The number is going to be the same for A, for P, and for E. So if I know my atomic number, I already know my protons, and I already know my number of electrons. I also need to find out my mass number. I need to figure out my atomic number and the number of neutrons. In order for me to get the number of neutrons, I'm going to subtract my mass number minus my atomic number. So remember this acronym, APE, man. Okay. Now, how do I find these numbers on the periodic table? So you have your rectangle here, and you have all these letters, all these symbols, all these numbers. This number up here is your atomic number. We know that's A. And if I know A, that means that I know my number of protons, and I also know my number of electrons. The SI is my symbol, and I know this number here is my protons plus my neutrons. It's my atomic mass. So this number is always going to be protons plus neutrons. And I know that my atomic mass minus my atomic number is going to give me the number of neutrons. Each of these elements is placed in a group or in a family. Group/families. I have 18 of these groups right here. So these groups are labeled right here. You have group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. These groups are going to run downwards, so they're going to go all the way down, okay? Now these groups and families have a number underneath them with a letter. That is known as the amount of valence electrons that you find in your atomic structure. So you have 1A, so that means I have 1 valence electron. I have 2A, I have 2 valence electrons. Group 13 has 3 valence electrons. Group 14 has 4 valence electrons. And group 15 has 5 valence electrons. Now, these valence electrons on your groups and families are going to have a similar reactivity. So the elements on this entire group, on this entire family, they're going to have similar reactivity. So elements that are found in the same group/family are going to have the same reactivity. Now we know that groups 1 and 7 are the most reactive, and group 18 is the most stable one. All right, then you have these numbers here on the side. You have numbers 1 through 7. These are known as your periods/rows. And these are going to tell you something different. These are going to tell you the energy levels or the number of rings that you find in your atomic structure. They're going to tell you the number of rings or the energy levels. It is the same thing. Okay, now your periods are going to run this way. You have period 1, period 2, period 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You have total 7 periods, and you have 18 groups/families. Okay, now down here we're going to write our protons, our electrons, and our neutrons. We know that protons are positively charged. We know that electrons are negatively charged and our neutrons are neutral, so they don't have any charge at all. We know that our protons weigh 1 AMU, and we can find them in the nucleus of the cell. Our electrons don't have any weight at all. They weigh 0 AMUs, and they're found in the electron cloud. Your neutrons have 1 AMU, and they're also found in the nucleus of a cell. Now, we know that all of these elements are going to react in a specific way when you combine them. So you have a chemical reaction. Your chemical reaction is going to have a specific sign, that you're going to see specific signs that tell you that it's a chemical reaction. Some of those signs are a sudden color change. So you can have a color change. You can see bubbles. You can see the formation of light. It produces light, or it can produce fire. It produces a smell. You also have a temperature change. So the temperature changes. And the main thing is you always form a new substance when you are creating a chemical reaction.